right, good morning, PTNI's Daily Show. I'm your host, Alan, here on Thursdays talking about personal and professional leadership and organizational development. I serve as the COO of ICE and also teach with our fitness athlete division, so I'm happy to talk about today's topic. Today's topic is To Sell is Human, talking about all things selling. And the inspiration for this topic came from last week. I had a little spill out on the highway with my car, so suddenly became in the market for a newer vehicle. So I had to go down to the dealership and buy a car, and so that whole process of buying a car really inspired me on this topic about why selling is important in our profession, even if we don't really value it, and why it can be underrated in our profession. So the name of this topic comes from a book by a guy named Daniel Pink. You may have heard of him. The name of the book is To Sell is Human. It's a great book. It talks about buying and selling in the modern era and how it's not as slimy as maybe we stereotype it out to be, right? It's underrated and misunderstood, especially in the scope of our profession. We have this kind of image of sales as direct sales only, of used car salesmen and door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesmen and that sort of thing. People calling you on the phone trying to sell you stuff at all hours of the day from a 1-800 number, right? And that's certainly one style and one type and division of sales, direct sales, but that's not the only way that we can sell stuff, and the way that we can leverage the ability to sell, to pitch, to close a deal, to better our outcomes and improve our practice and our clinical growth. So, like as I said, the first thing I want to talk about is that not all sales is direct, right? We have to change our mindset. That's certainly one subtype of sales, but it's not all sales. So we think of door-to-door salesmen, people calling from 1-800 numbers, going in and being pitched on a new car at the dealership or used car. But indirect sales is another type of sales, and it's something that people do all day long, right? So teachers sell students on why paying attention and doing their homework is important to their future. Why moving through the education system is important, right? Teachers are trying to sell students every single day, sometimes with great difficulty, and why they need to pay attention in class, do their homework, get their work done, study for tests, write their essays, that sort of thing, right? So teachers sell students all day long, each day, on the importance of education, right? When you ask to leave early to go to the dentist, you are trying to sell your boss, right? You're trying to sell your boss on the fact that you are such a good employee, you are so irreplaceable, that even though you've agreed to work 40 hours for a set sum of money, that they should let you go early because you're that darn good, so you can make it to the dentist, right? So we have those little sales interactions all day long in our day-to-day life. Surgeons sell patients on why surgery is the best treatment for whatever might ail them, right? So you have knee pain, I think you need a knee replacement. Here's an image, right? That's sales. That's building a case with facts. Sometimes maybe not always the best facts, but building a case with some data and trying to close on that case, trying to sell that case. I'm selling you right now on why you should continue to spend the next 15 minutes listening to me, right? I'm trying to sell you and build a case about why what I'm talking about is worth your time. And you'll either decide to stay tuned in or tune out, right? So the sale is going on right now. And more importantly, related directly to physical therapy, is that we sell patients all day long on why conservative management is the best option and the best use of their healthcare dollars, right? You do this all day long, and I think that by getting better at it, you can really improve your outcomes. If you remove the dollars from the equation, you should think of sales as building a case. Like a lawyer builds a legal case, or like a scientist builds a case with a hypothesis, right? That's what we're doing. If you remove the dollars from the equation, it becomes a lot less slimy and a little bit easier to wrap your head around. So not all sales is direct sales. The second topic I want to hit on is that this is the information age, right? Believe it or not, you can actually Google most questions that you have and get an answer, right? If Jeff figured out how to Google stuff, I wouldn't have a job, right? It's sometimes that easy. So Daniel, in his book, touches on this topic a lot, which I think is really important. Caveat emptor, which is buyer beware, has become caveat venditor, seller beware, right? So Sales folks in the past got away with a lot of unsavory practices because the buyer simply did not have the information, right? You could not jump on Google and compare different cars for the best price. You cannot look up a VIN number and see that the car you're about to buy has actually been in 12 accidents, right? And it's a salvage title. You couldn't do that before, so sales folks got away with a lot of slimy stuff because the buyer just did not have the information. That's no longer the case, right? A lot of buyers are very, very informed. They do a lot of research before they come in to purchase something. We do this every day, right? When you are going to buy something, you might look at 5 different stores before you pick the store you're going to buy it from or pick the product that you're going to buy. You read reviews, that sort of thing. Anybody can look up information about anything. Your clinic has a Facebook page, probably, maybe an Instagram, maybe a Twitter. Certainly, if you haven't made a Yelp for your clinic, somebody else has, and there's probably reviews on there. The same thing goes with Google reviews. There are third-party sites where people can rate healthcare providers, and now insurance companies are listing associated providers on their website with reviews, right? Which you may not know this, and they're also starting to link your outcomes, right? How many visits from evaluation to discharge did it take this provider on average to help somebody, right? So now patients are getting access to that data. So now they're getting the information on their side of the equation. It's important that we know that. And when they come into the clinic, they might think they have all the information, but sometimes that's not true, right? So they might come in with that image, that MRI or that X-ray that is just the root cause of all that ails them, and they're convinced that information is what is going to determine the future of their health, right? So sometimes just having all the information doesn't mean it's the right information. We can still intervene and help in those cases, and our information is still valuable. So it's important to know that even though patients come in, and they have a lot of information, more than they ever had before, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right information, and it doesn't mean that we still can't help them, right? We still have to sell them on the idea that their MRI is not the root cause of everything that's wrong with them, that we can still help them. It's entirely possible to help them reduce their pain and get back to normal function, right? So even though they have all the information, we can still come alongside them with our information and help them further. A third topic I want to touch on is that a sale is made on every call. We quote this often in the ICE team. This is from a movie called Boiler Room. Highly recommend you watch it. Here at ICE, we like to watch those old 80s and 90s sales movies like Boiler Room and Wall Street and Glengarry Glen Ross. So a sale is made on every call, right? Either you are selling somebody on why your clinic is the right choice, why your interventions are the right choice, why your plan of care is the best choice, why your outcomes are better, or they're selling you on why they don't need it or they don't want it, right? So think of, especially when you summarize your objective findings, when you summarize your plan of care, when you summarize your treatment interventions in that initial evaluation, that's a sale. And a sale is going to be made there one way or the other, right? You're going to sell that person on why you think you know what's going on with them, how they can help them. Hopefully you've already given them a trial treatment that's reduced their symptoms, right? You're building the bike, as we say here at ICE, and you're getting them to commit to a plan of care, getting them to commit to conservative management and physical therapy, or they're selling you on why they can't, right? Hey, it's too expensive, my copay, whatever, right? When you hear that, they are counter-selling you on why they probably don't think you know what you're doing, and they don't think that you can help them, right? So a sale is made on every call. I love this quote from Glengarry Glen Ross, ABC, A always be B, C closing, always be closing. So when you're going through initial evaluation, summarize that subjective examination. Hey, Dave, it seems like you've got some neck pain coming down your arm a little bit. It started about 2 years ago. You really haven't got any relief. It doesn't really seem to be too severe or too irritable, but it does build over the course of the day. You're telling me that sometimes you work 16 hours at the computer and you have a 2-hour commute, so it certainly seems like a lot of time on that computer can really flare that up. Nothing really seems to relieve it, except that sometimes you really brace yourself back in this nice upright posture, and if you hold there for a couple minutes, it gives you some relief. And that sometimes you're telling me that when you twist your neck really hard and fast, sometimes it pops, and that gives you a lot of relief. Did I get that correctly, right? So you're starting to build that case, starting to build that pitch, starting to sell them. And then when you go through the objective examination, summarize again. Hey, it seems like you're kind of gummed up in that upper neck region. You don't really have a lot of rotation or side bending on board. I'd like to get in there with my hands and see if I can do a couple quick stretches and see if I can relieve some of that pain and get some of that motion on board. What do you say? Are you on board, Dave? Again, making a sale. And then deliver that trial treatment that you have planned, and then reassess. Hey, it looks like I gave you a quick stretch in your neck. We heard some clicks and pops. You got a lot of pain relief. Your motion looks pretty good now, pretty normal, Dave. I'd like to see you twice a week for the next couple weeks. Ensure that you're continuing to be relatively symptom-free and get you a lot stronger, teach you some stuff to help manage your pain at home and prevent it from coming back. What do you say? That sounds a lot like a sale, and I think if you start to do things like framing that initial evaluation as a sales call, you'll have a lot more success, not only with adherence to home exercise programs, but just to physical therapy and conservative management in general. Just building that case and selling conservative management to those patients that come in the door. And something that helps with that is a concept called attunement, which is just kind of not exactly mimicking, but getting a feel for how that person in front of you is behaving, what sort of things they will respond to, interactions, interpersonal communication they'll respond to, and what they won't, right? So you can't be very extroverted, right? You can't be a Jeff Moore person around somebody that's obviously like an introvert, somebody who's maybe a little bit more techy and quiet, right? If you are just loud and emotional around that person, they're probably going to shut down, and vice versa. If somebody is loud and talkative and very emotional, right, then they're not going to respond well to somebody that's sitting in the corner and taking notes about everything they're doing, right? You have to attune to that person and mimic them, right? Daniel Pink in his book says that the best people are not extroverts or introverts, they're ambiverts, right? They're people that can switch back and forth based on the person that they're in front of them. Those are the people that have the best success with sales. You can't swear around Grandma Doris, right? You can't drop F-bombs unless you get the feeling that she likes it, that she doesn't mind, and vice versa, right? Somebody that's young and loud and is already swearing in the subjective examination, is somebody that you can't be too formal around, right? They're going to pick up on that and they're not going to like that. So get familiar with this concept of attunement as you're going through your initial evaluation with a patient. And I just want to summarize that we do this every single day, or we should be. Something that you should get familiar with is summarizing the subjective examination, objective examination, your trial treatment, and your plan of care, and selling it as a sales pitch. And you'll have a lot more success when you tell the patient what you found, what you've done, what the results are. They're going to say, hey, this person seems like they know what they're doing, right? They've measured some stuff. They tried something that they seem to be knowing what they're doing with their hands, or they tried an exercise and my motion got a lot better. I certainly feel a lot better. This seems like the place for me, right? That's a sales call. You've built a good case, you've pitched it, and you've sold it, right? That's kind of how this should go. If you start to think about this in your mind with every patient that walks in the door, you'll start to have a lot more success, right? Build the bike for the patient, sell that bike, sell the physical therapy bike to that patient. So change your mindset about sales. Human beings sell to each other all day long, every day, and little interactions throughout the day. It doesn't necessarily mean exchange of money, but there certainly is a commitment, a decision being made. Recognize that caveat emptor has become caveat venditor, right? Seller beware. The patient, client think they have the information. They think they have all the information and that it's right. Maybe not. We can still intervene there. And then understand that a sale is always made in every interaction. You're selling somebody on why physical therapy works, why you know what you're doing, why you know what you're talking about, how you can help them, or they're selling you on a reason why they don't believe you, right? My copay's too high. I can't make it here until 6. Sorry, even though they're sitting in your evaluation room, right? They've clearly made time for it. So a sale is made on every call. Make sure you're the one that's doing the sale. Pitch your interventions, pitch your plan of care, pitch your findings and examination like a sale, and you'll have a lot greater success with getting people to commit to coming to physical therapy, to doing their home program, that sort of thing. So that's all I've got for you. I am headed down to Columbus, Ohio tomorrow. Going to meet up with our good friend Pat McSweeney, throw down on some CrossFit, and then I'm doing my CrossFit Level 2 seminar this weekend, so I'm pumped about that down at Rogue headquarters in Columbus. Next weekend, Justin is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for total spine thrust manipulation. ice course of the year. So our online courses are wrapping up the next few weeks, and then that will be the last live course of the year. If you can't catch Justin then, you can catch him January 4th and 5th in Hackensack, New Jersey. Get some coffee out there in New Jersey, coffee. Fitness Athlete starts back up January 7th, Essentials online, January 20th, Advanced Concepts online, and then you can catch Mitch and I up in Minneapolis January 12th and 13th for Fitness Athlete Live, or you can catch Zach down at his home base in Charlotte, North Carolina on January 12th and 13th, right? So 2 chances same weekend to catch us out on the road. And that's all I've got for you. Get a little bit more comfortable with the idea of selling, not as slimy as we think it may be, can actually be pretty helpful to help us get commitment from our patients to get them in the clinic and come alongside them. So try that out. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you guys.